Nerida has worked in the packaging industry for over 24 years and is the Vice President, Sustainability and Save Food for the World Packaging Organisation and the Executive Director for the Australian Institute of Packaging. Nerida's expertise spans sustainable and circular packaging and Save Food Packaging design, and she's the lead for the Save Food Packaging Consortium project within the Fight for Food Waste CRC. She was also the packaging representative on the Department of Agriculture, Water and the Environment's National Food Waste Strategy Steering Committee. Please welcome Nerida for her presentation, The Role Packaging Plays in Minimising Food Waste.
We'll ignore all those titles, they're not that important. Just briefly who we are, and this is really important for all of you, we're here to help you. So if you're working in and around packaging, we've been doing this for 60 years, come and talk to us because that's what we do every single day. So one of the challenges that we've got is the misnomers about packaging at the moment, and you all know them, you're all consumers, and what we want to do is help you to understand that packaging has a really, really important role to play in minimising food loss and waste across a value chain. But we want to make sure that we get the balance right. We want to make sure that the conversation is right because at the moment it's a little bit skewed towards sustainable packaging, plastics, pollution, etc. And there are many ways that we can create value out of food waste, and one of them, as Francesca talked about, was prevention, and that's the role of packaging. And if any of you can walk away with one thing today, and I know there's supposed to be 3, I'll give you a couple more, it's about understanding the true role of packaging. Because packaging is here for what? We are here to design to make sure that we protect, contain, preserve and transport a product all the way through a supply chain. And in that role, we're protecting the product, we're protecting it from losing the food across the value chain. But the problem is that packaging has so many other roles, and we also have to make sure that we keep you safe, that there's the health and safety aspect of the product, there's the health and safety aspect of the materials. We have to make sure that we have a balance right between environmental sustainability. We have to make sure that it's recyclable, that it's collected, it's sorted, it's recovered. It's a big role for packaging to play. But if we go back to what packaging really is, it's about protecting, containing, preserving and transporting a product. So we have to make sure that we get the balance right. And the balance at the moment is like this. The balance is all about sustainability. It's all about plastic waste. And it's focused on the 2025 national packaging targets. But what we want to do is get that balance right. We want the science, the research, the evidence behind it to make sure when you move a material or you change particular packaging, that you understand the product that you're putting in that packaging. And to make sure that you have the science and the evidence behind your decision. And if you can do that, it's great because we're going to potentially minimise food loss and waste across the value chain. And we also have to make sure, as Sam said, we have to get the balance right with the 2030 packaging, the food waste targets. So if you work in food and beverage, you cannot just be talking about the 2025 national packaging targets. You have to have an equal conversation and an honest conversation about the 2030 food waste targets. And so what we do is we help you to understand the sustainable packaging design principles, and if you get an opportunity to come to our workshops, we will deep dive into this a little bit more. And when you look at the 10 principles, this is what we would like you to embed in your business. So if you can work through these principles, and you don't have to meet all 10, but if you can work through these principles, then you're going to have a lower environmental impact and you're going to be making the right decisions with your packaging. And when you look at number 3, which is really, really important, it's designed to reduce product waste. And that's what we're talking about today when we're talking about food waste. And so we have Save Food Packaging. And Save Food Packaging is designed to do all the things that I was talking about, but it's also in a new intuitive way. So Save Food Packaging has to be there to not only extend shelf life, contain and protect and preserve, but we want it to be intuitive. We want consumers to be able to open it, close it, reseal it, grip it, handle it. And you think about all the packaging that you have not been able to open. Think about all the packaging that you've had to get a knife and rip open. We don't want that. That's not good packaging design. So we want to make sure that when you open a pack, you're not wasting the food. And think about all that food that you've wasted because the packaging is not openable. So we're trying to make sure that packaging designers and packaging technologists understand how to redesign their packaging to be intuitive and to make sure that by the time it gets to the consumer, you can open it, you can close it, reseal it, and preserve the product inside it. And that's what Save Food Packaging is. But the challenge that we have is there's a balance. And it's about getting that sweet spot, the optimum pack design. And for anyone here that is designing packaging, this is really difficult. This is a really, really difficult challenge because we want to make sure that we're not underpacking, which is wasting food. But then we also have to make sure that we're not overpacking and wasting packaging materials. And so as a part of our project for the Fight Food Waste Cooperative Research Centre, we have developed Save Food Packaging Design Guidelines that are available, and we're really proud of these. And these are designed to help you, just like the 10 Principles for Sustainability. These are to help you to design your packaging to really think about the role that packaging plays with your food and your beverage all the way through your value chain. And it covers everything, and again, we can go into more detail offline about this, but it covers all the main principles all the way through the value chain and goes all the way through to communication with consumers. And that's an area that we're all really weak at. Because we need to make sure that consumers, all of you, understand the role that packaging plays. And if we can't, as an industry, explain that, then we're in trouble. So there are some incredible technologies, incredible innovations, and I've been listening this morning about Western Australia being isolated and sort of, you know, being by itself and being creative. Well, all of Australia's like that. And when you compare us to the rest of the world, we actually design bloody good packaging. Really, really good, innovative, intuitive packaging. And when you look at us against many other countries around the world, we win most of the World Star Awards. And many of you have seen some of our examples of World Star Awards, and they're all available on our website. But my point is, we do have amazing people in this industry. We have people that are working really, really hard right now, all the way across Australia, developing packaging that's intuitive and that can potentially minimise food loss and waste. And I think that's just fantastic. And I'm not going to go into too much detail with these. Again, these are all available on our website. But there are some amazing examples that include technology, active intelligent packaging, and also just the resizing of a pack for portion control, some really smart material changes that can preserve and extend shelf life. Extension of shelf life is really, really important in our conversation about packaging design. And this one is a Woolworths solution that was predominantly designed for recalls and internal purposes. So it was designed for their stock rotations and some of the challenges that they had where a lot of their food waste was actually being lost long before it got on shelf. And so they worked with a number of companies, GS1 being one of them, and they developed a 2D barcode. And the 2D barcode acts as the capability to recall all of the product, to be able to ensure that they have an improvement of stock rotation, tracking, traceability, etc. But one of the most important figures on the screen is just by doing this, they reduced their food waste by 40%, just by doing this tiny little 2D barcode. And it's just incredible to think about something so easy that can potentially minimise the food waste long before it gets to the consumer. Now, this example, the gentleman who, I don't know where he is, I'm not sure if he's in the room, up there, Michael Dosser just happens to be here, so you can go and have a look at his stand. This is a World Star winner that just actually won a World Star recently, and this is all about export market. So maintaining authentication, serialisation, tracking and tracing, provenance, etc., all of those things, maintaining the capability to protect and preserve and extend the shelf life of an export market, premium grape, and do it all through intelligent packaging. Really simple solution, and it's so successful they've actually moved, Michael, from trial now into a program. They're looking at moving into it. So it's just fantastic that the trial that they have developed is now going to be a part of the great association. And then one of the things that we found with our research, and it's all available through the CRC, is that active and intelligent packaging are underutilised areas in food loss and waste discussions. And we've noticed that there's been a really massive shift in the last couple of years with 2D barcodes, QR codes, and thermochromic inks, and a lot of optical colour changing solutions. And obviously they're not suitable for every product, and we understand that. We understand depending on volumes, etc. We do understand all of that. But there are particular categories where it's really, really exciting technology. And this is one of the examples, which is from caps and closures. And this is an optical system which changes the colour appearance on the top of the cap. Basically what this does, and Mark Mitchell's sitting there because this is his area, cold chain. Basically what this does is it helps communicate all the way through the cold chain environment, whether there's a temperature change. And so it brings all of the value chain and all of the partners in that cold chain along on the same journey. And so it can recognise a temperature change. And as Mark will tell you, that's critical. That's critical for food loss. And so if it changes, it colour changes. And they've also got new solutions now that this is going to be moving into consumers. So if you go into your fridge and it's just about to meet a use by, it will actually change and it will alert you and it will trigger you. And so then it will make you realise that you need to hurry up and eat that food so that you're not wasting it. So really smart technologies. This is another one that came out of New Zealand. The one thing that we like about this is not only did the material extend shelf life by 40%, and it improved the shelf life, which was significant, but they made sure that it was sustainable. And what we mean by sustainable is recyclable and recoverable. So they found the balance of that little image that I showed you at the start. This is a really fantastic solution to show you how companies can really think about both targets and find the balance. This is a really simple solution. This is dunnage. And dunnage is for transportation in shipping containers. And what they did was they realised that they were losing quite a lot of their meat into the export markets, and they were losing it in the shipping containers. And a lot of it was the damage that was being caused in the shipping containers. And so they worked with their partner to come up with a dunnage solution that could prevent that. But not only did it prevent that, they met both targets because they eliminated problematic EPS. So they got rid of all of the EPS and they replaced it with a flat packed item that is recoverable, that is recyclable. And so they got rid of a problematic material, which is fantastic. They improved efficiencies in their transportation, which is a significant thing for cost savings. But the thing is that what we really liked about this was they went from 200 boxes per pallet with the polystyrene solution, and they moved to 1,800 just by moving to something that was recyclable and recoverable. And then this is a thermochromic ink technology. Again, you set the data, you set the temperatures, so you set the parameters of the thermochromic ink technology, and then you can monitor, track, and alert if any temperature changes in your cold chain. And this is really, really important technology because we have so much food waste in the cold chain. And this one always makes me hungry, and it's good because we're just about to go and have some lunch. But this is, I'll ask you all a question. Who likes soggy chips? I'm the only one in the room. Who likes crunchy chips? Well, this is a solution. So Simplot came up with this concept that they were doing e-deliveries, so Uber Eats and all of those. And they noticed that a lot of the chips were getting soggy. They were getting cold and they were getting soggy. So by the time you got them through your Uber Eats, they weren't really in the condition that most customers wanted. And so they developed not only the technology with the chip, but also with the packaging, to ensure that they didn't go soggy. And so they maintain their crunchiness all the way through the value chain when they're transported, and the actual packaging is aerated, so it has an aerated, ventilated system to maintain the integrity of the product. But they also tamper evidence the top of the pack. Does anybody know why? Because the drivers eat the chips. So that's my favourite part of the innovation, because people, I probably would do that, I have to confess, so I wouldn't be a very good Uber Eats driver. And then this one is a meat. This is premium product that is packed and transported and exported. So again, it's a very expensive product, and we have to maintain its integrity and make sure that it gets to the export market in the integrity that we intend it to get in. The problem is that this has bone, and the bone splits through the packaging, the previous packaging. And so they wanted to come up with a solution to ensure that the bone didn't split through. And they had a significant amount of food waste because of the packaging. And so they came up with a better solution, which was with sealed air. But not only does it protect the product all the way through to the export market, the material that they selected extends the shelf life by 90 days, which is incredible. So just these little tweaks to your packaging can have significant cost savings for you and significant benefits to your customers. And then this is one of my favourites. There is no better story that we've ever seen in Save Food Packaging to date than this one. And the reason is this is an upcycled product. This is a valorised product that was commercialised. So this is an avocado farmer in New Zealand that was sick and tired of the retailers not accepting his bruised avocados. And he wanted to come up with a solution to valorise it, which is what Francesca was talking about. And this is 2016. This is how long ago this example was. So he came up with a product, which was a guacamole paste, and he developed it as an export range. And then he worked with his packaging suppliers to be able to extend the shelf life of the paste. And just again, with the material that they selected, the packaging that they selected, they extended the shelf life of the avocados by 90 days. Beautiful upcycled solution. And we're looking forward to seeing the next one of these. There's not too many that are this good. And so with embedding packaging design principles, as I mentioned, we have CRC, we have our research. It's all available through the ARP website and also the CRC, and I welcome you to have a look. And it's the current state of play with food and beverage manufacturers in this country. And unfortunately, packaging isn't that important when they're considering food waste, and that's a shame. So we need to do a lot more work with the brands to show them the value that packaging can bring, redesigning their packaging can bring to minimising food loss and waste. And obviously with food waste mitigation, there are many stages. NPD process is where it tends to sit, but once it gets through into marketing, it's not a focus. And unfortunately, 30% of stakeholders are unwilling to redesign a product's pack to save on food waste. So we do have a lot more work to do. And the greatest perceived barrier to adoption of safe food packaging is cost, time, and resources. And there are a number of safe food design features that we mentioned that are very underutilised, and active and intelligent packaging is one. And I'm sure Michael can talk to you all day about that, because that's what he lives and breathes. And there's also consumer education, and we need to do a lot more work with consumer education, particularly things like the difference between a use by date and a best before date. So an action for all of you is, if you don't understand the difference between a use by date and a best before date, have a look at the differences, save it into your memory, and share that with your family and friends and your community, because we can potentially minimise significant amount of food waste if we all understood the differences. And so the Safe Food Packaging Design Principles, I'm just mindful of time, we are doing some research at the moment, and we're going into a pilot stage. So we're really looking forward to this pilot stage. And we've developed this fabulous toolkit which is going to be available, which has all the examples, videos, case studies, and all the examples against all of the 5 principles. So watch this space. This will all be available soon. And it helps you to compare this to what you're doing in your business and to take some learnings from other people. So best practice examples in packaging is absolutely critical for all of you to learn. And take those examples and just take little pieces of it and embed it in your business. And then we also have fantastic tools like Direct, and this works in conjunction with Stop Food Waste Australia and the Fight Food Waste CRC, and it's designed to help you to track all of your food waste. So I'd really encourage you to have a look at that as well. And so I leave you with the balance, getting the balance right. We need evidence, we need science before we make decisions in packaging. When you move your packaging, please stop and look at all of your environmental impacts before you move to something that you're assuming is more sustainable. We want to make sure that you have an equal or lower environmental impact with any of your movement into packaging, and people like the ARP are here to help you to make sure that you have the right choices. Thank you.